Hi everyone, it's Nicole. Welcome back to my channel and another STAMPtember exclusive. Today I have two different cards for you. I decided this year on the Saturdays that there are two companies that are showcased. I wanted to go ahead and just combine them in one video. I think it's going to make it a lot easier. So they're two completely different cards, two completely different sets. We've got Studio Katia, sorry, and Kitchen Sink, and we are going to build two different cards. So again, we're going to start with the Studio Katia Grateful Florals, which every year I feel like they bring really beautiful florals to STAMPtember. And I decided to build a little, almost like a little kitchen scene, really simple, but I think it'll be effective and be the perfect backdrop for the beautiful florals from this set. We're going to stamp the background with the soft plaid background using charcoal ink. This is a background stamp from Simon Says Stamp that I think almost looks like a wallpaper, or at least that is what I am going for. I wanted it to kind of appear to be this wallpaper background back behind our countertop. And then to create our tile countertop, we are going to be using the on the ground borders from Simon Says Stamp. Again, this is another cling stamp, a lot like the soft plaid background, but they pull apart. So there's lots of different ones like grass and pebble or stone. One that kind of looks like, I would say, a sidewalk, a couple of different sidewalks, like a solid and then an open one. And then this one, which I have used many times, I think it looks like a countertop. It is my favorite, or a great floor. Either one. In this case, I'm kind of imagining a countertop. So I am going to stamp that on another piece of smooth white cardstock with clear embossing ink, heat emboss with white embossing powder. We're just going to tap off all of that excess there, heat emboss this, and then I'm going to take the same color of ink, the charcoal color of ink, and we are going to do embossed resist over this border. So it's kind of a tone-on-tone background. I wanted it to be a black and white where the florals and the pumpkin really pop off of this background. Beautiful fall florals, and so I really loved that the florals are tucked into a pumpkin, and I think this is going to be really fun to color in. I'm just making sure that I'm heat embossed everything. Then I'm going to just trim it with my paper trimmer into a strip. We're going to adhere it to the bottom of that plaid background, and then I'm going to trim off the excess. Well, I guess we're going to emboss it first, I'm sorry. And then we're going to kind of just trim it up so that it's 4 by 5 and a quarter, leaving us with a nice white border all the way around. I'm double checking with my stamp set to make sure that this is going to look good. I always like to double check. I'm going to grab a scrap piece of paper, my ink blending brush, and that same charcoal ink that we used to stamp the plaid background, or our wallpaper background, if you will, and I'm going to ink this up. Now, I could have trimmed off that little piece there, but I kind of liked it almost as a backsplash, I guess, if you will, on the counter, and so I went ahead and left that little strip along the top. And then we're going to adhere this right to that, well, we're going to buff any ink sitting on top of the embossing away with a dry rag. And then I want to kind of center this, I think, on my background panel. We'll use some nice strong adhesive. Yes, I finally caved and got an ATG. My favorite little adhesive has been discontinued, and so we're going to give it a try. The jury's still out on if I like it or not. I'm going to trim off that excess. And then I want to make sure I trim this down. And that's also going to get rid of some of the imperfections. I noticed up in that upper corner, it didn't look fantastic. So this gives me a chance to kind of trim away anything. I don't want to trim away that bottom part. Now we're going to stamp our image on some smooth white cardstock, which I did off camera using Hero Art's intensified black ink, and we're going to color this in with Copic markers. So I have listened to you guys and I have not sped up this portion of the video to faster. So there will be a little bit of coloring, but rest assured that when we get to the butterflies, that is stamp layering, and so not so much coloring. I think this really worked well with the companies represented today, that I was able to put both into the video. I'm going to try to do that when it works out. It may not work out each week. We shall see. There are a few instances where more than one company is represented for STAMPtember. I'm using my favorite orange, color combination for pumpkins, YR1527 and E08. I'm going to do a nice base color of YR15, and then we're going to go in with E08 and just kind of flicker feather in that texture. Again, I always like to not over blend a pumpkin. I really want it to have a ton of texture. We're going to continue. I like the E08 with this. I have really played around over the years with lots of different color combinations for pumpkins. I love YR15 as a base and YR27, but I think the E08 gives that nice little bit of darkness, but still has enough of an orangey or orange red undertone. I just really like it. And then we're going to feather up and down. And this is with our mid-tone color. And so yes, quite a lot of the original base color is covered up. However, it does give you those nice highlights. Now, I felt like it did need just a little bit, so I'm really lightly going over that middle section and over the lid of my pumpkin with my YR15. For that part of the inner pumpkin that you can just see a little bit from the cut edge, I used YR31. I'm using 3 different pinky purple, I guess I want to call them, or magenta color combinations for my florals. Really trying to kind of capture the fall feeling, but also just a beautiful floral bouquet, especially against the black and white backdrop. I want it to be very colorful. I'm using RV red violet colors. So this first one is probably my deepest and darkest. And there's really only going to be about one, I think, in this color combination, maybe a couple smaller buds here and there. So I kind of have what I'm calling my dark, deep purple, more of a magenta, and then definitely more of a brighter pink, which I think just sets the whole thing off. Who knew that pink would be so pretty with the orange of the pumpkin? But purple already we know is going to look good with the orange, but I think the pinks really look nice with it as well. So we're going to color in. I'm kind of just trying to go again along each petal. This is an extremely detailed image, I would say, but it's very easy to color. I was a slight bit intimidated, to be honest. When I sat down to color this, I thought, oh, this is going to take forever. And it didn't. It really didn't. And so it kind of came together very easily. Oh, I love it. Now I am going to do some greens, and this is one of my favorite. I call it my fall green color combo. I use it other times as well, but it's more of what I call well, I guess I just said I called it my fall green, but a grown-up green, not grass green, just more elegant. It's the yellow green colors in these darker tones, maybe more yellow undertone, I would guess. I really, really like them. So I'm going to do quite a few of the leaves with this color combination. I decided to go ahead and go in and do some of the greenery, kind of help me set apart where the flowers are. That was what I was going for here, trying to figure out where all my flowers were. So I did the light, dark, and then the mid-tone. And I don't really think I need to go over it much more. I think this looks pretty good. I see a few little spots that I want to go in with just my dark marker. There's not really enough to shade, and so some of those little tiny stems and things, I just use my darkest color. Isn't it going to be pretty on that little backdrop scene? A little E55 and E57 for the stem of the pumpkin. I think that's the only place I ended up using it, or using that particular color combination. And then I missed the first part of the coloring of this. I apologize. Actually, I think I missed the light, the dark, and then the mid-tone. I'm going back over with RV63 now, my lightest color, to really blend it all out. I think it's hard to pick, but I think this is my favorite. I love that color combination. It's so pretty. I like the three of these together. I don't know that I've ever done this particular color combination together. And I think it looks really nice against that orange pumpkin. I was pretty happy with it. So there is another little flower. Now there's some little teeny tiny flowers and little sprigs and things on our card. So I will go in with some additional color for those just to kind of break up all of the pink and purple. This is going to be our bright pink, so kind of sandwiching the stuff in the middle are going to be our two big bright pink blooms. I think that this fuchsia color combination actually works really well for a fall design. I wouldn't have thought so necessarily, but it really, really complements the other blooms beautifully. And then just going back over with our lightest tone to kind of blend it all out really nice. You might notice I left a couple of my leaves up at the top. They look a little bit different in shape than the others, and so I thought I would color those with a different color combination, which is what we're going to do here in a minute. I'm going to finish coloring in our other fuchsia bloom. Now, once we have some of the bigger elements colored, you can start to see some of the littler things, like the little teeny tiny flowers and little sprigs and things that have been tucked into the arrangement. And for those, I'm going to do a little red and a little yellow just to kind of round out our fall floral arrangement. Got another little bloom up here, so I think we're going to go back to our deep dark purple. And then here is the yellow red. So YR31 is my favorite, and I'm going to pair it with YR23, and we're just going to kind of do a little almost dot to add in the color there. I just want it to have a little bit of color. It's more a filler than anything else. It doesn't need to be super prominent. But I like that little touch of yellow in amongst all of the pinks and purples. And then these are some reds, and I did pick a couple of my favorite darker reds for fall. And some yellows again. And then there was some other small flowers up there. So this is the other green color combination. It's a blue-green instead of a yellow-green. And we're just going to add that up at the top. I think it blends really nice. It is, again, a little bit more of a muted green. But it has a little bit different undertone than the yellow greens we used. All the marker colors I'm using are listed in the description down below the video here on YouTube. Now, as always with my STAMPtember videos, I like to let you guys know if I use the coordinating dies or if I die cut them with a scan and cut. And today, everything was die cut with the scan and cut. This image cut really, really easily. The butterflies, I did have to be a little careful about those because it didn't want to kind of pick them up. But I managed to get them cut, so yay. That makes me happy. I'm going to do a few little highlights on our pumpkin before we move on to doing some stamp layering. Multi-step stamp layering from Kitchen Sink Stamps. So Kitchen Sink Stamps is the other company being highlighted today at Simon Says Stamp with their limited edition exclusive. Their set is called Butterfly Kisses, and oh my goodness, you guys are going to love this one. So this is for all of my non-coloring friends. If you are looking for something you don't have to color, but you can get some beautiful results, and I will tell you guys, this might be one of the easiest stamp layering sets I've ever used. It was a snap. If you have some kitchen sink stamps, you know they always send a guide telling you how to line things up. I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't even pull it out of the packaging. I did not even look. And my butterflies stamped perfectly the first time. I was so impressed. So I kind of did try to follow a similar color combination to the other card. So this is going to be my pinky purple color combination with Bubblegum Sweets and Taffy inks from Simon Says Stamp. Bubblegum first, then Sweets. Look at that detail. Oh my goodness. So pretty. And then our final is going to be stamped with Sweets. Now with this last one, you really could probably use a dark ink or a black ink if you wanted to. I opted to go ahead and stamp it with the darkest so that I had that really beautiful gradation of color. Then we got another butterfly. For this one, I am going to use another set. This is my the more muted purple color combination. This one is going to be Heather, Violet, and Iris. All of the inks are Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated ink. And look at that. Is the detail amazing or what? Oh my gosh. I just can't get over this butterfly set. It's beautiful. And then that final detail just brings it all together. And then let's go ahead and do our last one. And this is going to be Carnation, Peony, and Rose. So I really tried to kind of go with a similar color combination, even though it's a completely different card. And then there's our first layer, and finally our last layer. So pretty. Okay, now I will tell you, I ended up stamping the hearts from the stamp set with the rose ink. There's a little duo of hearts and then there's a single heart. I did not end up using them. There's nothing wrong with them. I just didn't particularly like them for my finished design. Sometimes that happens, so I can save those for another card at another time. I am going to die cut everything, and then let's go ahead and build a background for our butterflies, and let's put it all together. I am going to use this Geo Leaves stencil from Simon Says Stamp. It is one of my go-to favorites. We're going to ink it up with Aspen and Sage inks from Simon Says Stamp. Kind of doing a light blend. This background is 4 by 5 1/4, and I like it. I purposely positioned mine this way because I am imagining my sentiment up near the top, and there's naturally a nice little area. Not that you couldn't stamp over the stenciling, you absolutely could, but I think it leaves a really pretty little spot up there along the top, perfect for our sentiment. Now, after I have stenciled, I'm going to take whatever ink is left on my blending brush, and I am going to lightly ink mostly the bottom, like 2/3 of my panel. Not all the way up to the top, and I'm not going to re-ink it at all, just using whatever ink is left on there just to give it a little bit more color. Now, I wanted to add splatter, but I didn't want it to be white, and I really kind of went back and forth about what I wanted to do with this. And I got to thinking, I really, really like Rustic Wilderness Distress Spray or Distress Oxide Spray. However, when you use the sprayer, it's always kind of a guessing game how much of it's going to spray and if it ruins your background. So what I did was I put a little bit of the product in my plastic splatter box, and I picked it up with a paintbrush, and I'm splattering it on with a small paintbrush. This gives me much more control over the amount of splatter, and I get that great dark green splatter that I want, but it's not going to completely cover up my Geo Leaves. So that is an idea for you if you like to use your distress sprays and things like that. Maybe just pour a little out and use it more as a splatter technique. I've got some foam adhesive on the back of my floral arrangement, and I'm going to pop that in place. I am going to stamp Autumn Greetings with black ink along the top of my card. And then I'm actually going to take my phrase, I'm going to build a phrase from the Studio Katia stamp set, the Grateful Florals, pardon me. I want to stamp to you and your family, so it'll read Autumn Greetings to you and your family. I'm going to build that and stamp it on black cardstock with clear embossing ink. And at the same time, we are going to go ahead and stamp the phrase Sending You Butterfly from the Butterfly Kisses kitchen sink stamp set. I want to have a little black sentiment strip on both cards, so this is a great opportunity to just kind of kill two birds with one stone. I'm going to sprinkle on the white embossing powder after I line up the second part and stamp the second part of my sentiment. Heat emboss these. And then I'm going to die cut them with the Simon Says Stamp Sentiment Labels dies. I love the white embossing on black cardstock. And here are those sentiment labels dies. I lined it up with one side, run it through the die cutting machine, line it up with the other side, and run that side through to get my sentiment label strips. I'm going to put foam adhesive on the back of my strip and go ahead and pop that right on my first card. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love it so much. It turned out so good. Exactly how I envisioned in my mind. I love when that happens, don't you? And then we are going to stamp our big greeting on our second background with the VersaFine Onyx black ink and pop up the rest of the sentiment right above it. I'm also going to attach butterflies with foam adhesive, but I realized before I do that, I need to stamp my sentiment. So I had my foam adhesive and I was like, oh, hold up. let's go ahead and stamp first. And I love that with this die, I just feel like there's that natural little spot that it fits perfect. So let me lay out my elements, line up the word kisses, and something to say about this Butterfly Kisses stamp set is there's lots of options for greetings, so you could really build out a lot of different greetings. And now I have foam adhesive underneath the wings of my butterfly, but liquid adhesive under the body. This is my favorite way to get a little lift in those wings. And then we're going for the front facing. For the side facing, or kind of semi-side facing, we're just going to put straight foam adhesive back behind those. And we have a beautiful little trio of butterflies. We will also pop up the "Sending You Butterfly" phrase with foam adhesive right above the word kisses. I like the little bit of dark splatter. I think it adds a nice touch. Those are the new Simon Says Stamp scissors. I really do like them. And then our final butterfly kind of frames up our greeting like that. And this is where I decided no hearts. It wasn't working. And let's embellish. So I've got some orange pearls and a black heart for our Studio Katia card. I think that's perfect. I like the little black heart next to the greetings, and I like the little orange pearls. These are from Pretty Pink Posh. We're going to attach this then to a white top fold card base. Add some pink and purple pearls to the butterfly card. I'm taking a black fine tip pin for the antennae for my butterflies and a black jelly roll pin for the body of my butterflies, just to give them lots of detail and dimension. I like that for the body of the butterfly. I don't think I would have liked the black on the wings, but I do like that little bit of detail. It pulls some of the black from the sentiment down into the butterflies themselves. And that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today for this kind of take two version or card showcase featuring brand new STAMPtember collaboration exclusive limited edition sets from Simon Says Stamp, Studio Katia, and Kitchen Sink Stamps. The supplies I use to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring STAMPtember exclusive limited edition products that you might be interested in. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my Patreon members. If you would like to become a member of Patreon, please click the link in the description below. We would love to have you over there as part of our community. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click the like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.